of the most powerful things a woman will ever learn in life is how to set boundaries, not just in leadership, in friendships, in family, in business, in her relationships. Because if you don't create boundaries for yourself, people will create expectations for you. And expectations can quietly turn into chains if you're not careful. And the truth is, a lot of us were never taught these. Many of us were raised to believe that being a good woman meant always being available, always answering the phone, always responding to the message, always fixing the situation, always showing up when someone calls. You were the dependable one, the responsible one, the one people counted on. But eventually, you grow. And when you grow, you realize something very important. Peace requires boundaries. And once you truly understand that, life starts getting a whole lot better. Something life will teach you quickly is that everybody who has access to you does not necessarily value you. Some people don't want access to you because they love you. They want access because you're useful. And that can be a hard truth to sit with. But once you recognize it, it changes the way you move. Somewhere along the way, women were taught that boundaries make you difficult. That if you say no, if you step back, if you choose peace, you must be mean. But the truth is this: boundaries are not mean. Boundaries are mature. A woman without boundaries will spend her whole life managing everybody else's emotions, trying to keep everyone comfortable, trying to make sure nobody is upset, trying to make sure everyone feels okay. And that's exhausting. And if we're honest, a lot of us are not tired because of what we're called to do. We're tired because of what we keep allowing. And that takes honesty with yourself. This is something I had to grow into understanding. Everybody cannot have the same level of access to you. Some people get your time. Some people get your conversation. Some people get your wisdom. And some people get your distance. Just because someone knows you doesn't mean they deserve access to you. Access is a privilege, not a right. And sometimes protecting your peace looks like very ordinary decisions. Not answering every call, not responding to every message, not explaining yourself every single time you make a decision to protect your peace. Because over-explaining is often a sign that you still feel guilty for protecting yourself. And the truth is, you don't have to feel guilty for protecting your peace. Here's something else people don't tell you about boundaries. The moment you create them, people start revealing themselves. The people who respect you will adjust. The people who genuinely love you will understand. But the people who benefited from you having no boundaries, they'll get uncomfortable. And you have to be okay with that. Because you didn't become difficult, you simply stopped being convenient. And boundaries will cost you something. Sometimes it'll cost you access to certain people. Sometimes it'll cost you closeness. Sometimes it'll cost you community. And that part can be hard, but hear me clearly. Everything you lose by setting boundaries was already costing you something anyway. Most of the time, it was your peace. This is something I had to learn in a very personal way. When my intellectual property was copied, it forced me to sit with a very uncomfortable truth. Everybody around you is not for you. And just because someone is close to you does not mean they should have access to what you're building. That situation hurt, but it also sharpened me. It made me more aware, more discerning, more intentional about who and what I allow around the things God trusted me with. because I realized something in that moment. If you don't protect what God gave you, people will mishandle it as if it was never valuable. And I refuse to allow that to happen again. And if you are a woman who leads, boundaries are not optional. They are necessary because leadership requires emotional capacity. People bring you problems. People bring you expectations. People bring you pressure. And if you try to carry everybody, you will eventually collapse under the weight. A leader who belongs to everybody will eventually belong to nobody, including herself. So sometimes leadership looks like ending the conversation. Sometimes leadership looks like stepping back from certain relationships. Sometimes leadership looks like protecting your time without apology. That's leadership too. One thing I had to learn about purpose is this. The bigger the calling on your life, the stronger your boundaries have to be. Because when you carry vision, people will pull on you. Sometimes because they need you, sometimes because they admire you, and sometimes because they believe you'll never say no. But peace is expensive, and anything that's expensive deserves protection. So yes, I believe in kindness. I believe in love. I believe in showing up for people. But I also believe in protecting the life God trusted me with. My time, my peace, my purpose are all precious. And I had to learn the hard way that everybody cannot go with you, but the right people will respect you enough to stay. This is Leadership Looks and Lessons, where we talk about leadership, growth, presence, and the real lessons that shape who we're becoming. And sometimes the most powerful leadership lesson you will ever learn is how to protect your peace. See you next time.